be respectful of everyone's time, so we're going to get started. I'm Mayor Brandon Whipple. I want to welcome everyone here. We are at our first media briefing, so please go easy on me. But I look forward to updating you on the various activities that are going on across the city. First and foremost, I'd like to welcome Dr. Utash from WSU Tech, who's here. She sits on the American Workforce Policy Advisory Board, and she has some updates for us this morning. So with that, I would like to release the floor to Dr. Utash.
Thank you, Mayor Whipple. I appreciate you asking me to be part of your very first media briefing. I do sit on the American Workforce Policy Advisory Board in Washington, D.C., which is co-chaired by Ivanka Trump and Secretary Wilbur Ross from Department of Commerce. And I've kind of given an update on this in prior media briefings, but I would just reinforce and tell you that certainly this particular workforce board is working across the nation. And I always say that there is so much going on in America, and certainly Wichita and Sedgwick County and our state are a microcosm of all of that's going on there. But there are four distinct areas that we're working on, and number one is to develop a campaign to promote multiple pathways to a career. And you are going to see a national advertising campaign kicking off in the next 60 days. That we will be accelerating and scaling and scoping here in Wichita as well through WSU Tech and through other avenues to advance that message. But it's really an educational message of how students can create multiple pathways for education towards a career. We're also working to modernize candidate recruitment and training practices. Some of the things you will see with that is, just an advance effort from Society for Human Resource Management across the nation to ban the box so that we're allowing more of those that have served time and come out of the prison system to be eligible to go to the workplace. We're also using some things to modernize the transparency, I like to call it. It's like employer and jobseeker.com, some kind of a matching opportunity that we will be launching, some kind of an electronic portfolio that will be available across this nation, including here in Wichita. And finally, to measure and to encourage employer-led training investments. As technology advances in training, certainly there'll be a lot more upskilling and reskilling that will need to happen within our companies, and technology is moving at a very rapid pace. So those are the main things that we're working on in the America Workforce Policy Advisory Board. I'm honored to be a member of this 25-member board of wonderful people from across this nation that are really working on the whole issue of workforce and workforce readiness. I also would just like to take a moment to say that also very honored to be part of a new commitment that was rolled out yesterday along with Mayor Whipple and many other elected officials and community leaders across the city, which is the Air Capital Commitment. And basically, this is a group of elected leaders and community partners that are making a commitment to this city. We know that we live in the air capital of the world. We know that there are consequences from the 737 MAX grounding that are going to affect our business and industry partners at Spirit and also in the supply chain. And it's going to affect our neighbors and our community people that are going to be affected by layoffs. This particular group has come together really to provide a fiercely committed commitment to making sure that we are supporting our world-class workforce that's going to be affected by the 737 MAX grounding, and also our companies and our corporations here in Wichita. We want to retain that workforce. We want to retain the rights to being the air capital of the world, and that's really what the Air Capital Commitment Group is for. So you will see more coming in that. We are combining resources. We're going to be able to help people with fiscal resources and job employment opportunities and education and training opportunities. There'll be a combined website that will come out next week But certainly, this is a group of people that have come together. They're very committed to make sure that we're taking care of our people and our community and our companies, which make Wichita and our surrounding areas great. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. And just, that's a good dovetail into the press conference we had yesterday about our commitment to our workers and ensuring that in this time of economic uncertainty, we have a networked, collaborative, community-focused effort to, in the short term, help those who are displaced. In the midterm, have opportunities to get employment, and then into the long term, of course, to diversify our economy so that there is more opportunities in the future. And for those of you who might be facing some of these uncertainties head on, please bear with us over the next week as we roll out what this plan will look like, but also there is some resources for you at the Workforce Alliance and on some of the websites that you can find that are public on our social media. So we want to make sure that everyone knows that we are in this together, and as a community, we are moving forward on looking out for our neighbors. So that brings me into flu shots. As we know, the holidays are over, but if your family is anything like mine, where you have 3 kids, then you might also have experienced an increase in people getting sick. I like to just let people know that the Office for Community Service Neighborhood Resource Centers have partnered with the Sedgwick County Health Department to offer free flu shots to anyone over 19 years of age who is uninsured. So if you are someone who is interested in a flu shot and you don't have insurance, please go to our neighborhood resource centers, and they will be happy to provide you with a free flu shot. There was a Evergreen NRC hosted their clinic this past Monday, and 18 people were vaccinated. The clinic will be held from 3 to 5 p.m. on January 22nd at Atwater Neighborhood Resource Center. That is 2755 East 19th Street North, from 3 o'clock to 5 p.m. On January 29th at Colvin Resource Center, which is located at 2820 South Roosevelt Street. This partnership is aimed to help our communities stay healthy. So getting into what I think everyone in the media is here for, report on streets. So just wanted to provide you a quick update on the streets and bridge projects around the city. The city of Wichita currently has 16 projects underway or planned for 2020, totaling over $215 million. Taking a look at the map, projects identified in the red are under construction, and projects in the blue are scheduled to begin this year. The Kellogg project, I want to just take the opportunity to highlight a few of these projects this morning, beginning with East Kellogg improvements. With the opening of the freeway portion to traffic, the focus is now on completion of the 2 frontage roads connections to 127th Street East, as well as the new KTA ramp connecting near K96. Work will continue in different areas throughout 2020. The goal to have the freeway section back to 60 miles per hour this summer. One particular highlight is completion of the aesthetics lighting over the new Kellogg and Webb Bridge. The state-of-the-art LED lighting design will include different colors during each of the 4 seasons, as well as for holidays and special occasions, with colors changing at various intervals. You can see from the pictures that the American flag theme would be available for Memorial Day and Independence Day as an example. The same lighting should be in place for Greenwich bridges by this summer. The total construction cost for this project is $165 million. Harry Street Bridge will be the next project that we talk about. The bridge was identified as a need replacement during the biennial inspection of our 280-plus bridges, but one of the few that are in the condition it is. The bridge is now under construction and will be through the end of 2020, so residents will need to plan an alternative route. Along with construction of the new bridge, the project life of 70 years or more, the aesthetic elements will help to enhance the river corridor. Excuse me. The estimate cost of this project is $4.2 million. The next project I want to highlight is the improvements we're making to the 17th Street North from Broadway to I-135. This is the North Broadway Bridge. Street. Construction of this project was slated to begin in February and will be completed in 3 block segments that will close 17th Street to through traffic. City staff and the contractor will work with property and business owners to provide modified access throughout the course of the project. The reconstruct will feature 3 vehicle lanes and on-street bike lanes, as well as improvements to the Broadway intersection and enhancements for aesthetic purposes adjacent to McAdams Park. The cost of this project is $9.3 million, roughly $4.3 million in federal funding, and the balance being paid by the city. Construction is projected for completion in the spring of 2021. 29th and Mays intersection, the last project I wanted to highlight this morning, it's upgrades to the 29th and Mays intersection. Substantial area development has resulted in considerable delays at the intersection, especially during peak hours and weekends. The project is expected to begin in March and will conclude will conclude with the dedication of the right turn lane for northbound Mays Road and additional turning lane capacity for westbound 29th Street. The cost of the project is just over $1 million, with an estimated construction duration of 4 months. As you can see, we have lots of improvements being made around Wichita with continued emphasis on bike and pedestrian access. So I only highlighted 4 of the 16 projects we have in process or planned for the coming year. We will try to highlight more of these projects each month and keep you in the loop on improvements you can expect to see around Wichita. And with that, I will stand for questions.
Mayor, I do have a question about the commitment that you guys were discussing for the employees that are going to be affected from the layoffs. Can you be more specific, perhaps give examples of what kind of help will be available? And if she wants to help, that's...
Of course. So I've been in discussions with our partners at the federal, at the state, and at the local level for the last week. And some of the stuff is ongoing. We're still working out the details, but some of the stuff I'm comfortable to share because my goal is to make sure we have information out that people can rely on and not talk about stuff that's in the works yet. Basically, the first step towards this is to ensure that we have a one-stop shop for people who are looking to see what resources are out there. We saw the state, at the state level, that unveil with a website, which at the local level, we are looking to integrate our own website as well. And we are utilizing right now the Workforce Alliance as the place that our collaboration can take place. So as we, for the very first step towards our networked process here is to provide that information and to tell people where they can go. And this is affecting those who are directly impacted by the Spirit layoffs. We do have plans in the work for also the supply chain. Those details I can't discuss yet because they have yet to be confirmed. So I want to make sure that I have all the details before I announce those. But I do want to just say that first step is letting our neighbors know that there is information out there. Please go to the website. Bear with us as we make sure that our unveiling of our additional website, we want to make sure that's perfect when it comes out. So bear with us for that. But the Workforce Alliance Center is looking to be that place that we will be putting resources into where community members can come and have those opportunities reach out to our community. Of course.
Excuse me, Mayor. I was wondering if I could ask your opinion on the $1 billion riverfront project.
My opinion, want to get more specific?
Basically, what you think about the riverfront plan.
So I think that we have a great opportunity to develop our river and make it a regional attraction. And if we do it right, then we can take some of the people who are doing more regional vacations and going down to Tulsa, go down to Oklahoma City, we can attract those people to Wichita, in addition to increasing our ability to attract conferences and such. Right now, the plan is bold, and it needs to have more discussion about the payment structure and also the phase-in process. As anybody who understands a vision of this size knows, you can't just snap your fingers and get it done overnight. We have to get into the nuts and bolts, and I think that is where you'll find responsible elected officials will be looking towards not just do they like the idea, but how do we implement it? And I think that's where a lot of the discussion is going to be headed.
And also, as a follow-up to that, do you think this is a good time for this project, seeing as how we have two other big projects going on right now with the stadium and also the water treatment plant?
So Wichita is in a position right now where we want to keep momentum going forward with the stuff we're doing right. We also can handle these other problems because we have an incredible team here at City Hall and an incredibly experienced City Council as well. So the idea that we need to slow down here to work on this is not one that I think is valid at this point. Obviously, we won't take on more than we can handle, but we will make sure that we utilize the resources we have to keep the economy of Wichita growing and to make sure that we're thinking out towards the future, not just towards the short term. That's it? No one wants to talk about the streets? Yeah. Flu shots, nothing? Well, guys, I want to thank you guys for being here. If there's anything my office can do, if you have any questions over the week, you know how to get in touch with me. Not only can you go through the office, but also you can call my cell. And I appreciate you being here to help us add transparency to the public by asking tough questions, coming out and making sure that we are engaging those we work for, which is the voters. Thank you.
Can I ask a last question?
You sure can. I'm starting to get warmed up.
Can you talk about the preps for the weather that we're expecting in the upcoming days?
The what? Excuse me.
The weather conditions for the upcoming days?
Well, that's, yeah, and like, we'll just go ahead and get it to the person who runs that department. We've tried to make an ordinance to only have good weather happen in Kansas and Wichita, and that has yet to receive the support it needs. So until then, I would like to pass it off to our director.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We are anticipating getting some cold weather and some precipitation, which could add to the storm event by putting ice down this evening, or especially in the morning when it gets down to the low temperatures. So our crews have been out putting de-icer, salt water mix on the roads. We've been doing it for a little while now. We will continue to have all 60 trucks out on 2 12-hour shifts, putting the salt down, monitoring conditions, with the idea that if once the ice hits, we'll go out and continue to put down a salt sand mix or just brine, depending on what the conditions look like. But it's going to hit probably the hardest. What they're projecting is early tomorrow morning, which is about the time that the people are commuting to work. And so, like usual, we'll have our folks out there, and we ask that everybody be patient with us, especially with the trucks as they're moving around. They're not as maneuverable, and it's harder for them to see folks. So just give them a wide berth and give them the room that they need to be able to put the material down, and everybody give themselves a little bit extra travel time because the roads could be hazardous.
And we want everyone to get to work and get home safe. So yeah, please be mindful. I want to just echo that extra travel time is necessary. Black ice is something that it's very tough to see. So we want to make sure that no one feels obligated to go too fast, resulting in any problems. Other questions? See none. Thank you, guys. I really appreciate it.